Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming Modcast review show. We have a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about on this show because Winter is Coming never ever fails to deliver. So I want to get right into this. I'm joined, as I always am, by the. I've run out of. I always go to say the ineffable, but I'm not. First of all, I'm not entirely sure what it means. And second of all, it's just because Excalibur calls Tony Schiavone that.
Too
And you are
great
very
or
much,
extreme to be expressed or described in words.
well, you are very much the Tony Schiavone to me as Excalibur.
Wow, I've never been so insulted in my life.
Yeah, you should be. Dory, please, introduce yourself once again.
All right. I definitely didn't stay up till 3:30 last night playing Hades 2 and slept in until about, 45 minutes before the podcast started. So, yeah, that's my story. Or not my
Wonderful.
story. Yeah, hypothetical. I would never do that, of course. But
No,
yeah,
by the
hey,
way,
everybody. Welcome back
we're
to another
recording this.
stunning episode. What's that?
We're recording this, everyone, at noon Dory's time, so you should very
Yes.
much shame her, considering it is a weekday.
That's right. But yeah, welcome back everybody to another podcast. We are going to talk about Winter is Coming and how amazing it was because it really was. It was very good. I also want to give a special shout out to Final Battle because Adam was dealing with some health stuff, so we weren't able to do the pod last week and talk about Dynamite and Collision. We were going to do a whole huge super show and talk about all three events. But with the dust settling, really, I just want to very briefly mention how good Final Battle was, especially Lee versus Mercedes. Lee versus Mercedes. Lee versus Nigel. Mercedes versus Red.
Man.
I know.
Moriarty versus
I know
Mercedes,
that would be awesome. And the Persephone was my versus Athena was my match of the night. Something I want to highlight too that was very funny before Adam takes over here is just that I was walking my dog Xena while Mercedes versus Red was going on, and I didn't know if I could get Honor Club on my phone, so I downloaded the app, got it going. I was watching intently as I was walking Xena while walking in some freshly laid down snow and ice. So very tricky. And my dog's a pit bull, so she pulls. So, I was watching, and I'm like just about wrapping up the walk, and all of a sudden, Red Velvet hits her with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll up, and she won, and I'm just standing there on the street yelling to myself while walking my dog. She won.
Oh, this was.
It's just like, thank God it's nighttime. By the way, what's that?
No, I was just gonna say.
Thank God it's yeah.
This was Red Velvet's finest hour. It really was. Like,
it was so good.
She looked incredible, and obviously, massive credit has to be given to Mercedes Moné because when she's on more often than she's not by all stretches of the imagination. But when she's on, she is like the best women's wrestler in the world. And this was very much her being like, right, I'm going to go out there. It's my first time in Ring of Honor. I'm defending the TV championship and whatever. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make Red Velvet the one of the load-bearing pillars of Ring of Honor going forward by giving her her best match of her career, and she did. But credit has to be given to Red Velvet with that as well because it takes two to tango, and Red Velvet needed to be able to sort of step up and deliver on the platform Mercedes was giving her, and she did in absolute spades. This was my match of the night by some way, to be honest, because I love Mercedes and I adored everything about this match.
Yeah, but this was so good. There are so many finishes I bid on, so many top rope moves, and just incredible performance from Red. Just a really great, excellent match in general from both of these women. They just did such a great job getting the crowd going, getting them hyped up. And yeah, I made a fool of myself. No surprise there. Standing on the street. Yeah, it was just really good. And I had a blast watching it. Another thing I had a blast watching was Lee Moriarty versus Nigel, which if you want to talk about things that I bid on, oh my God. I was so emotionally invested in this. Again, I really wanted Nigel to hold the title one more time, but fuck you, Nigel. Is really just he's just really intent on putting over the younger talent. Okay, here we go. The future of the industry is important. Blah blah blah. Who cares?
By younger talent, you mean Lee Moriarty 3 times at this point.
Yes, that's true. Well, and I mean, to be fair, Nigel did beat him the second time, but yeah, yeah,
That's true. That's true.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, yeah,
But I mean, even in defeat, it's not like Lee really lost that match. He was still put over. You can lose and still get put over. I know it's very confusing for some people on the internet, but you can lose and not get buried and actually be put over, which is pretty much what the C2 is all about.
yeah,
Actually, we'll
which
talk
we
about
will
that
talk
later.
about. Oh wow,
Yeah,
yeah, but that
and then
briefly that Nigel McGuinness Lee Moriarty the Iron Man match. If you haven't seen it, go and see it because it's a 30-minute Iron Man match, right? And the first sort of 27, 28 minutes are very good wrestling. I don't want anyone to get confused. It was very, very good. The last 2 minutes of this match are pure, absolute insanity. Like it just, they never, ever, ever stop. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like there were, not to spoil it, I think there were like 4 pinfalls in 2 minutes,
it was nuts.
and oh my god, like the perfect encapsulation of the final stretch of an Iron Man match. It was perfect. And by the way, that final pinfall, not to spoil it for anyone, that is the best timed pinfall I've ever seen in my life. His hand slaps the mat right on 30 minutes. It's
It was
insane.
insane. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. I couldn't believe it. I really thought Nigel was going to get a tie, or he did get a tie. They went to sudden death, and I really thought Nigel could win it from there. But either way, I'm very happy for Lee. He's an incredible pro wrestler. It's done the job of putting him over, huge. So I'm very happy for Lee. The last thing I want to talk about from this pay per view, and there are other great matches. Like I want to briefly shout out Ricochet and Dalton Castle, who had a surprisingly really good match. Dalton looked really good. And honestly, despite my like mixed expectations, STP versus Skyflight was a solid match. I felt like everybody kind of showed out there.
Yeah,
And Deanna
yeah.
versus Billy was solid too.
Really, there was only one match that I felt was a bit disappointing on the whole show, and that was inevitably a Sammy Guevara match.
Yeah, that was my only like under 4 stars match. But I want to focus on the positive. Persephone versus Athena. Oh my God.
Oh,
Tony, come here, buddy. I know you watch and listen to this podcast. Tony, you need to put this woman, Persephone, on a dual contract, like post haste with immediacy. Because like I don't care that Athena can make anybody look good, because obviously that's part of the thing, right? Same with Mercedes and Red Velvet. But it takes 2 to tango, right? There's only
hey,
so much Athena could have done here. Persephone looked like 2 million. The Young Bucks were this is gonna sound bad out of context. Were drooling in the back lot, from this match, because that's how much money Persephone looked like. I mean, Jesus Christ, she looked incredible. And I love the little kind of symmetry of the goddess of the under, as somebody who just beat Hades too, the goddess of the underworld or the queen of the underworld versus the god of the many things that Athena is, which is not love, by the way. The song is wrong. I don't know why Aphrodite is the god of love. Anyway, just a nitpick that's always bothered me. But yeah, Persephone versus Athena, incredible match, very close to being on my match of the year list. I just wanted to go another few minutes, and that. But I mean, it's the Dave system. So basically, if you say it's 5 stars, I more or less agree with you.
yeah. But no. But yeah, it very much seems like with the CMLL AEW partnership, it seems like AEW or CMLL or whoever, the entire partnership has chosen a couple of people and been like, right, we're going to make these people sort of stars in America. Not Bandito. Hechicero is one. He was the first one, really. Mascara Dorada is another. On the women's side, it's Persephone, because she has had some incredible matches. She had an incredible match in CMLL with Mercedes. She's had this one. I was there at Forbidden Door when she was a part of a really, really good 4-way match. she was in a really, really good 4-way match, I think, at Supercard of Honor with like, I think, hold on, it was Mina. It was definitely Mina because she won. I think it was Yuka Sakazaki and Miria Master. Very good match. And, she's had a bunch of other matches sort of in Ring of Honor, at AEW and such and such. I think she has been one of the greatest beneficiaries of this sort of AEW partnership. So, yeah, I think she's one of the focal points of it. I think that if she hasn't been signed to a dual contract, what the fuck are you doing, Tony? Get it done. The last thing we want is another Stephanie Vaquer on our hands. And she is, I mean, she's not as good as Stephanie Vaquer, no offense, but she has the potential. She's young. She's obviously very hungry for the business. And she has all the fundamentals there to be a really big star. So yeah, really good stuff.
All right. Well, and go check out Collision and Dynamite, the Dynamite, those were good too. But
yes.
Right now we're going to talk about the Dynamite that just happened, which was Winter is Coming.
Absolutely, yeah. And we'll get into it straight away because we are on a bit of a time limit. We've chewed up quite a bit of time talking about Ring of Honor. But this show, first of all, this crowd was absolutely fantastic.
All the way through. This UK crowd? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, someone in our live chats was like, "Oh, UK crowds never disappointed." I was like, "Oh, wonderful! We're back to 1775 when Georgia was part of the wonderful empire."
That's what all the tea was doing in the audience. I was wondering why everyone was sipping tea.
But yeah, so not a UK crowd. That is on Saturday, and I promise you, I will be doing my best to make it as late as possible. But yeah, this crowd was really, really excellent. Atlanta feels like a bit of an underserved market for AEW. Perhaps that's why they were so rabid throughout, because they want to make the impression of like, keep coming back to us, and I think they will. It was a sellout crowd, which is a rarity for AEW, but you could tell, and it showed because this really good. But they started off very, very hot with the final. Oh, carry on.
I was going to say very quickly, I've been noticing that Tony's been doing a lot of surprise wins lately, like a lot of defying expectations, and I really like it because it keeps the momentum going really strongly. It makes everything unpredictable, of course. And all of the wins and losses that are happening out of that unpredictable booking, it doesn't feel like unpredictability for the sake of it, right? It doesn't feel like it's a swerve, bro, right? It doesn't feel like that. It feels like incredible people winning, but you weren't sure that they were going to win, or you didn't think they were going to win at all. Like, I think there was enough. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if it happened on Dynamite or Collision. I feel like it might have, maybe once or twice. Last week, I mean. And then this week for Winter is Coming, just on Winter is Coming itself, there was like 2 surprise victories. So yeah, just a really good stuff from Tony. I hope he keeps it up. It makes things feel fresh and unpredictable, and it excites the crowd. But anyway, let's we can get started with the women's tag.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to piggyback off of that, we, like you say, we've had a bunch of surprise results. Like who was I thinking about? Kevin Knight beating Darby Allin. That was a shock.
Yeah, well, obviously, he really beat Darby, as it turned out.
Yeah, obviously the incredible shock of Samoa Joe beating Hangman for the title. Yeah. And like you say, they're not. It's not just for the sake of we're gonna do something shocking, but we have no idea why. No, they have a reason why. It's because they have laid the foundations for either of these people can win. But obviously, this person's going to win. Oh my God! No, wait, this person won. Oh, okay. It makes sense. It's not unpredictability for unpredictability's sake, like you said.
Exactly.
And there were a bunch of instances of this on this card. That we're about to talk about. Chief among them. Spoilers, not to bury the lead on this. This was the finals of the World Tag Team Tournament. The timeless love bombs of Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa versus the Babes of Wrath of Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. Nobody gave Willow and Harley a hope in hell in this match.
I didn't.
Uh,
I said this in the live chat. I was 90-10, and I got to tell you, Babes of Wrath were not the 90 there.
no, they were not. I was more than that. I was like,
Remember when the Timeless Love Bombs won that match, and you and I were like, "Huh, that's weird," because like that would seem to suggest that they weren't going to win. They weren't going to win again. But we're like, no, maybe Tony's just doubling up on Tony and Mina. But you know, there was like a
no,
little moment for us where we were like, "Huh, like that's weird." I had that same moment with like the Babes of Wrath beating Mercedes and Athena, right? That was a surprise victory too. Um, so yeah, this was nuts. This was a really great match. Partly, I have to say, partly just because of the shock win and how feel good it was. I mean, it would have been feel good either way. I would have been happy if with Tony and Mina, but I'm really happy for Harley Willow. It also means I don't know what the fuck is going to happen to Tony and Mina. Do they
no.
turn heel? Do they get real fucking sad and gay? More gay, I mean. Like what is happening here?
Well, as a sad gay, I know which way I want them to go. But apart from that, yeah, it's completely thrown a monkey wrench into the entirety of the women's division, really, because we had all sort of assumed that Tony Storm, even with Mercedes and Stat and Willow, Tony Storm is the face of the women's division. She just is. I don't think anyone would disagree with you on that. Even the people I mentioned, even the world champion. Tony is the face of the division. We all assumed that she would be tied up, not tied up, but she would be focused.
I'm sure she would.
But we all thought that she would be sort of sequestered away in the tag division for a while as the tag champs to establish the belt and whatever. Now you have the face of the division seemingly without anything to do. So it's like, where is she going to fit in? Because you have this woman that is not going to be kept off TV. No fucking way. She's arguably the face of the company. You're not going to keep her off TV. So what do? I have no idea, but I'm sure that they have something in mind because, put it this way, if they had nothing in mind for this, they would have just put the belts on her. You know what I mean? It's the easiest thing in the world to be like, right, Tony Storm, we don't want her to, we don't really have anything necessarily singles-minded to do with her. Put the tag team belts on her, let her anchor that division. No offense to Mina, obviously she's great, but Tony Storm is just on another level to everyone. But now, you've got this free-floating, like, megastar going around. I don't know what they do, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wonder what they do because, like, I don't think that they belt up Tony again. So it feels like they would go into some kind of. Yeah, there's two shots. Either the Timeless Love Bombs go after the tag belts and it's kind of a redemptive thing, and in the meantime, somebody else, probably Sisters of Sin, sorry, Adam, get the tag belts. I was just saying that's probably according to Tony's booking, that's probably what's going to happen. But and then they get the tag belts after being really sad, or like maybe Tony turns back heel and like goes after Mina and they have a blood feud. But like I don't know. I mean I'm always in the mood for Toxic Fury, but I just don't know if that's the direction they go.
I feel like you can't. Tony Storm has reached that echelon of performer. It's like I don't know if you could even turn her heel.
Yeah, I agree.
Where it's like she is the most over person in the entire company, arguably. I don't know if you could. I just don't. I don't foresee that happening. I think it's more
like. Fair. I mean, I'm like that scene in Bob's Burgers. I'm literally grasping at straws. I have no idea where they're going.
I think it's more likely that Mina turns heel because I think you could have something quite strong about that. About like, Mina being disappointed and lashing out. But and plus I think it would be easier to turn Mina heel than Tony, especially if you turn her against Tony.
Right, of course. So, yeah, they could definitely do that.
But yeah, this was a really good match. We haven't talked a great deal about the match, but it was really good. It was a
dropkick that Tony does. That's what I want to shout out to Tony Storm's shotgun dropkick that she did. Just looked so good. That was one of the spots I remember from the match last night.
Yeah, and Harley looked really good as well. She's taken on a bit of a role in this sort of tag tournament as being the heater to Willow, where it's like, she gets sort of bounced around a lot and gets beaten up, and then Willow could come in for the hot tag. But Harley got quite a bit of offense. She even hit her finishing move on Mina, which I thought might have been it. I was quite sort of shocked about that. But yeah, I was shocked about it because I thought, oh my god, I don't think anyone's actually kicked out of that yet. And I thought, oh, does that mean that are the Babes of Wrath actually winning? And then I think it was Mina kicked out. And I was like, oh no, they're not winning. And then they won, and I was like, oh well, fuck, what do I know?
Yeah, I started to suspect that they were going to win when Tony got taken out like on the outside, and I didn't see her come back in, and she got hit with I think Harley's finishing move. Mina did Harley's finishing move and Babe with the power bomb. And I was like, oh wow, I think that's it. But I was like, maybe Tony will come back in off screen because they love doing that thing, right? Where the other person comes in off camera and then breaks it up at the last second. I was like, well, maybe Tony will. Oh no, that's it.
Yeah, I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
In a good way. And I really liked the sort of post-match thing where you had Renee come in. It felt very sports-based presentation. After the match, Renee coming in, interviewing the winners. I like that. More of that, please, especially in big matches like this.
I want them to like really spoof like sports interviewers and Renee to like ask the most banal questions like, how did it feel to win? How much sweat is on your forehead right now? If you had any band to listen to on a desert island, which would it be? That kind of stuff.
Hey, don't you denigrate the great institution of Desert Island Discs over here in the
UK. Well, another thing about this match I liked, and then maybe we should move on, pending how much more we have to talk about it. But Tony had I think Harley, and she basically had her where she wanted her, if you know what I mean. And she started flapping her arms around like a chicken. And I think Excalibur or maybe Tony, one of them said, like, I think she's going for the chicken wing. I was like, wow, this is great commentary. Like, how did you guess that? How did you fucking guess that? The TCM chicken wing. But yeah, a great match, a really great match. I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy for Harley and for Willow. It feels like, and other people said this in the live chat, so this isn't really particularly original of me, but like, it really feels like Tony's finally rewarding Harley for all the work that she's done in 2025 and maybe a little bit of 2024 if my memory is right. Just how far she's come, how much better she's gotten in the ring, how much she's connected with the audience. So yeah, just great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, she deserves it. But yeah, unless there's anything more to say about that, there was a promo in the back by Samoa Joe, just basically sort of saying, you want the real Samoa Joe. This is the real Samoa Joe. I've been here all along, and I'm going to kick your ass and show you what the reality of this industry is all about. Because it's sort of Eddie Kingston's shtick, if you will, that he has been sort of pushed down by the industry. He's quite a broken man by the whole wrestling industry, but he still loves professional wrestling. And Samoa Joe is, basically saying like, you could hype yourself up on your own hope as much as you want, but I am the representation of the wrestling industry, and I'm going to break you again. Great sort of through line of this whole thing, I think, is sort of Samoa Joe being that guy to Eddie Kingston, where it's like, oh, you can smell your own farts as much as you like, bud, and believe that the wrestling industry owes you whatever, but I'm going to kill you because that's what I do.
Yeah, this was another great promo from Joe on this feud with Eddie, which has been kind of under the surface because so much else is going on with the women's tag on the C2. Just a very good program between both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it culminated tonight in a match that we'll talk about later. I thought was a really, really great match. But yeah, after that, there was a brief promo backstage from Jon Moxley and Danny Garcia and such, where it was basically, not to sort of bury it at all, but like it's very similar to what Jon Moxley has been saying for the last couple of weeks. He's doing that sort of, I'm still in charge, I feel alive, all these other people think that I'm done and blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, the Death Riders are sat in the back like, oh, we're going to fucking murder you.
Yeah.
I don't know when it happens though. I assume it happens at World's End.
I would presume. I mean, it's the same fucking building that that they bagged up Brian. So I mean,
That's
like
true.
that's what I would think that that's what's going to happen. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I really don't.
There's a lot of
It's given
history.
me a little bit of pause, like, and I can't believe that they booked this so subtly, so smartly that like I'm actually questioning whether the turn is going to happen or not, which is nuts because like of course it's going to happen. Like that's what they've been building to. Like I don't know. It's nuts that I'm even questioning this even a little bit, but that's how well they've told the story so far.
Yeah, I really like that they've sown sort of the seeds of doubt that maybe, and that's sort of what the C2 does. It builds these narratives around people that you don't expect. Coming out of Blood and Guts, it was patently obvious that the writing was on the wall for John Moxley. He was going to be betrayed. He was going to be sort of put out to pasture by the Death Riders. And so the C2 rolls around. He's in the C2, and the narrative through line is maybe Moxley can sort of straggle together enough clout and enough wins that he can stave off, the doubting of his own faction. And, maybe he does. I don't think he will. But that's the story that, maybe he will sort of struggle to survive another day. I really like it. I really think, John Moxley is one of the greatest storytellers in wrestling, full stop. And I don't think he gets enough credit for it. But this has been really, really well done by him.
And it's really cool how he's very slightly twisted the intonation of his and the um like of his promos and like the way he says them and the words he uses. Like I don't know, like the way he's doing it, it's like it's slightly more tweenerish. It's slightly more babyface. Like it just took a little bit of emphasizing the hard work, the passion, the how much we love this business, how much we're like kind of bringing it back to what the Death Riders were originally about, right? Which is that they wanted to make AEW better by any means necessary. He's just focusing on the making it better part without the whole, backing people up and kidnapping people and torturing, details.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we can talk about it to death, and we do need to move on. But the
Yes.
the direction of the Death Riders, especially since All In, has been absolutely phenomenal. That just for my money, when you consider the sort of the diabolical start to the year that the Death Riders had on top, um, like the momentum shift after All In. All the things that John Moxley and the Death Riders has done after All In have been absolute slam dunk, home run, incredible stuff, and it's a testament to the power of sort of storytelling that they've been able to turn it around, and I really admire them for it.
Yep. All right. Well, we should probably move on to
Yes.
Okada versus Jack Perry. Now, one quick thing I want to say before we get into the match itself. Fuck anybody who didn't believe in Jack Perry. I believed in my
Yeah.
scapegoat, as you all should have. This was a really great match. Okada showed out and Jack Perry both showed out. Jack always had that dog in him, just for some reason, and like we've talked about before, they wanted him to work a style where, he was going slower and not doing the flips and not, wrestling as exciting because he's a heel and outdated wrestling tropes. Just sensational stuff from both guys here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the story coming out of this is Jack Perry's sort of renaissance again as a really good wrestler. But don't discount the fact that Kazuchika Okada is also just the best tournament wrestler of all time. And the way that he sort of scripts and threads his matches is second to none. Because with an Okada match it's going to start off quite slow. And he will hit the beats, he'll hit the elbow drop, he'll hit the middle finger, and he'll sort of go for the drop kick and stuff like that. But the way he sets it all up, it's a really special sort of feeling. Um, Especially with a guy like Jack Perry, who is sort of the plucky underdog. and a guy that has a lot to prove, especially with people who had already counted him out because of the stuff. It obviously there are a lot of people that don't like him because of Mr. Phil Brooks, which it can't be discounted when you're talking about Jack Perry, because it is still a massive part of his sort of wrestling career, and it's still a massive reason. It's still one of the main things people think about when they see him. But he has a chip on his shoulder because of that, and I think that he has done really, really well to sort of build himself back up, to show everyone that he's a really good wrestler. And I think that the C2 is exactly it's exactly the platform that he needs to do that. To go out there against people like Okada, to go out there against people like, who else is he going to be going up against? People like Speedball, people like Fletcher. I think the future, the next couple of weeks will be a really big sort of showcase for Jack Perry, I think.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this bit on some finishes because, again, the way that Tony has been booking this has just been, surprising. And so I was like, well, I mean, I don't think Okada's going to lose here, right? I was like 75-25. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. At this point, weirder stuff has happened. And I mean, after Tony and Mina didn't win, I was like, well, to quote Adam, what the fuck do I know, right? So, yeah, I don't know. This was good stuff. Lots of reversals, lots of chain wrestling, which would surprise me, but in a good way. Jack's Poison Rana looked really good on Okada. Of course, the one spot we really have to talk about is when Okada went for the tombstone, and Jack decided to do an ingenious little reversal that involved biting on Okada's little rainmakers. So, which I just realized is a really good euphemism for things I was not intending to intend. But oh well.
Yeah, this was really. I mean, the funny thing was, it was like 10 seconds after Okada had bitten his way out of the snare trap as well. So it's like, we were all sort of laughing about, Okada biting Jack or whatever. Gets him up for the tombstone. Then Jack just bites him in the dick.
I was looking at the ref. I'm like, is that a DQ? Like, is that a DQ? I don't know. What do we do here?
But like, I just absolutely caught myself laughing. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, so good. All right.
But yeah,
this was a great match. I totally agree with Adam on on that, and really enjoyed it. But we gotta move on.
Yeah.
I will say last thing. Sorry, just to contradict myself. When you said Okada has the beats or whatever of the down of a match, I started thinking of like, we got the beat. Anyway, yeah. Okada's music is really good. I've really grown to love it, by the way. Every time that song comes on.
It is so good, and I hated it when it first happened because people don't like change, and people really love the Rainmaker theme, obviously. But it's so good. If it, I think if it had debuted, with anyone except Okada, people would be like, "Oh, this is a fantastic theme song." It has so much sort of aura and whatever. But the more you listen to it, the more it grows on you.
Yeah,
and
it's really good.
To the point where I'm like, I don't think I even want him to go back to the Rainmaker theme.
It's a tough call. I really like this new theme. I do want to talk about some more beats though. Now, Adam, as we know, AEW doesn't have a story for Mercedes Moné. She's just randomly winning and losing titles with no rhyme or reason. So this video, so this video, it's not good at all. So this video package, definitely a non sequitur or red herring. As showing that she lost to Chris and also lost to Red Velvet. I'm sure it doesn't mean anything, and Mercedes isn't crashing out. It definitely doesn't mean any kind of story is being told her here about her losing all the belts and then winning the world title. Probably
we don't tell stories here, Dory. If you want stories, you got to go up to Connecticut.
That's right, up to the big NYC, Connecticut.
By the way, very briefly, there was a good segment about Don Callis trying to seduce Jack Perry after the match. And Jack Perry said no and tried to take on everyone in the Don Callis family. It did not work until carry on. No, I was just going to say,
I love a dumb baby feet. I know people are like, well, why would he fight him? And it's like, it's wrestling. Like, wrestlers are kind of stupid anyway. So, like, I don't mind if baby faces act dumb once in a while, as long as they learn their lesson and, like, okay, I need my friends. And then Jack immediately was like, yeah, I'll get my friends. Plus, even if he had turned to, like, leave, like, one of the guys easily could have grabbed him. So it's like, what was he gonna
Yeah.
do?
You know,
So.
to channel Big Damo, some wrestlers are just fucking stupid. I don't know what to tell you.
In the accent too, love it.
But yeah, after that we had a really, really good promo backstage with Eddie Kingston and Renee, who is a very important sort of facet of this. This felt like just two friends talking backstage before a match, like, you know, how are you feeling? You know, you do get nervous before matches. You know, you feel sort of blah blah blah. You know, Renee and Eddie are very obviously and publicly friends, right?
Yes.
You know, because John and Eddie are friends, and Renee and Eddie are friends regardless of the relationship with her husband. And so, you know, it did just feel like two people. One has a really big thing that they're going through, and the other is just trying to sort of be like, "Come on, you know, you can do this." I really like that it was 50 years from Terry Funk winning the world title, which is something that Eddie Kingston obviously feels very, very strongly about because he loves Terry Funk, as he should. Terry Funk is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, was amazing. And yeah, so that sort of emotional through, like, Eddie is so good at the emotional stuff. He makes you feel, you know?
I'll never forgive. You know, and I wasn't on the hate train as much as some other people were, or the cold train, for you know, for Hook. But god damn it, the fact that we didn't get this for like a month or something because of fucking Hook, I'll just never forgive him. The immediacy of "We Are So Back" with Eddie was unreal.
I
The amount
know.
of emotional whiplash I did with this man now that he's able to cut promos and do great matches, like ugh.
I know. It's so incredible. At the moment he wasn't with Hook anymore, he just unlocked to the point where, you know, if this had been sort of 2 months ago, I'd have been like, oh fucking hell, Eddie Kingston in this sort of world title match. You know, he really doesn't deserve it, especially being saddled with Hook. And then after this promo, I was like, maybe they just fucking do it. I believe that they could just put the world title on Eddie Kingston. And by the way, not to spoil the results of the match, I still believe that, even though, you know, what happened. I still believe that there is a very good chance that Eddie Kingston gets the world title sooner rather than later, because he has just turned over a new leaf since, you know, from the past couple of months, and just gone, you know, he switched back into being the Eddie Kingston that we have all loved and missed. And so it would not surprise me in the slightest. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
There was a promo backstage with, in the ring with Mark Briscoe. He didn't really say a great deal. He was just sort of hyping up the match against Danny Garcia in
He kept
Cardiff.
saying a bunch of doubters and people who didn't believe in him. I'm like, Mark, who are these people? I want to exchange some words with them. Like, I'm not aware of anybody who doesn't believe in you at this point, dude. Are you listening to the voices inside your head? Like, what's happening here? Do I have to fight some people, Mark? Because I'll fucking do it.
I know, it's like, come on, dude, you're Mark Briscoe. We believed in you for like 3 fucking years at this point.
I don't know who the fuck isn't believing in Mark Briscoe at this point. Like, that's nuts.
He did say that his haters can kiss his big white ass.
I know, and then a big white ass chant broke out in Atlanta, Georgia. And I feel like if anybody is qualified to judge a big white ass, it's the people of Atlanta, Georgia. So, good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, them and the people of sort of, you know, Mar-a-Lago, Florida. But regardless. But yeah, Wheeler Yuta came out, and I saw something online that said that I think it was Ibu, because, you know, he has some take sometimes. But I agreed with this one, where it was like, he really appreciated Wheeler Yuta coming through the crowd with a live mic, and it wasn't like, oh, he was backstage, you know, watching on the Tron and stuff like that, or he didn't come, you know, he came through the crowd as a Death Rider should, and it felt very sort of authentically AEW,
and without Mox, which raises some eyebrows too.
Yeah. You know, it's very rare that
Marina just said, I loved at the end. Somebody pointed this out in the live chat, but Marina just like basically having to deal with her two sons, just like completely done with them. Just like, oh God, I can't take you two anywhere. Just like trying to make sure that they don't get in a fight with Mark Briscoe immediately.
Yeah, pretty much. And like they did a really good job of holding him back. Like it really felt like, two people struggling to hold back a madman. I thought it was well done.
Yeah. I will say one thing about this feud. I know it's, again, another kind of under the surface, kind of under the radar kind of feud. I do like it. And also like, I don't really believe that Mark could lose, but the fact that there is going to be some Death Rider interference, right, inevitably makes me, at least 5-10% like question it. Like it could happen here. And Danny's won before, of course, the title, I mean. So, I do like that aspect. I know, I don't like too much interference in my wrestling. Some promotions certainly do it a little too much, but I don't mind it every now and then. It's a staple in wrestling, and I'm come to terms with it happening every now, especially from heels, right? When it makes sense and done sporadically and carefully, I don't mind it. It's just that a lot of companies don't do it sporadically or carefully. But yeah.
And
so
also,
that was this.
no, also just to say as well, the fact that there have been so many sort of shocking outcomes, it does filter down to the other matches on the card. It does filter down to the other stories you're telling, where it's like, in any other normal circumstance, you'd be like, well, Mark Briscoe isn't losing his first feud. He's not losing to Danny Garcia. There's no chance of it. But in this current sort of December 2025 AEW, you do sort of think like, well, I didn't think that the Babes of Wrath were going to win. I didn't think that Kevin Knight was going to win. I didn't think this. I didn't think Samoa Joe was going to win. So perhaps they just do the shocking thing. And it does add that sort of level of, you can have a promotion be too unpredictable, right? I don't think that's what this is. But you can absolutely as well have a promotion where it's too predictable, where it's like, well, obviously that's not going to happen because they have their plans and, they have their favorites and nothing surprising ever happens here. And for all its, for all the credit that it got, AEW started to feel a little bit like that, I thought, in the last couple of months. And they've definitely course corrected to the point where now I'm like, I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm excited regardless. So yeah, I really give them credit for that. So yeah, I don't know whether there was anything else you wanted to add to that.
No, I think we nailed it down. And there's not too much more to say about it.
There was a backstage fight between the Triangle of Madness and some women. I didn't really catch who it was, to be honest.
I didn't either. I kept hoping it was. I kept hoping it was Maya and Hyann, and then I could have been like, "Oh my god, 2 weeks in a row," or whatever.
It was weird. One of the attires of these women looked a bit like Jamie Hayter, but it wasn't Jamie Hayter because I would have recognized her. And then I thought it was Ty Mello for some fucking reason because she wears the sort of big sort of Brazilian style, bright colored singlets and whatever. But I don't think it was her either. So I don't fucking know who it is.
I think it was just extras, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but Chris Statlander was there. It's very obviously going to be Tekla versus Statlander at probably World's End.
Yeah.
So that will be a very good match, I think.
Yeah. And this segment left me with one question, right? Because I know we didn't cover it, but last week the same thing happened, and they beat up Jamie Hayter and like a couple other people I don't remember, and I was just wondering, is this a service that the Triangle of Madness offers? And like hypothetically, where could one sign up for this service? Okay, thank you. Not for me, just for a friend, of course, interested friend.
Yeah. AEW should post on like Indeed about
that's right.
Extras required.
Craigslist.
Yeah, you don't get paid, but you do get to be beat up by Tekla.
I'm there day one.
But yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, we had a kind of confusing match next, or at least I was a little confused. But I loved it. I loved it, to be clear, but it was confusing.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, this was the tornado tag match that had been advertised between the Ops of Powerhouse Hobbs and Katsuyori Shibata. Forgot their names for a second there. I'm doing very well. Versus the Franken team, but not really. But also, I really don't care whether it's Franken team or not. I love them either way. Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. And yeah, this was a tornado tag match. And in history, I'm not sure I've ever known the tornado tag match in AEW to not be no disqualification as well. But apparently, Well, first of all, we should say that they brawled quite extensively throughout the arena before the match even started. Um, they really sort of brawled very heavily. Um, with chains and staplers, as is Hangman and Swerve's whole vibe. People got put through tables. There was there was a great moment of Hangman sort of wiping out Hobbs and then telling the bartender to give him a beer and just sat there aura farming while Hobbs was dying on the floor. I
Yeah, that
really
was good shit.
appreciated that. And I really appreciate the story beat of just briefly to talk about this of Hangman. He's lost the world title. He should be at his lowest ebb, and he is because he's drinking again. But it's not the same sort of sad, depressed Hangman Page that we knew and loved, sort of 2020 time where he was drinking because he had self doubt or whatever. No, this time it's like he's drinking, and it's because he is pissed off rightfully at the world and at the ops, and he's angry. He's in a pit of rage and fury. So hell hath no fury like a hangman scorned. He's gonna put back those whiskeys and he's gonna kill someone. I just like that sort of story beat where it's like Hangman's drinking because he's at his low ebb, but it's not the same Hangman that we saw at his low ebb before.
It's a slightly different tinge. It's a I'm drinking, so things aren't good, but I'm mad as hell. Like I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Right? It's not I'm mad as hell, and I'm going to burn everyone around me. It's I'm mad as hell, and I'm going to focus fire on this one asshole who took the title for me. So it's like a more concentrated rage.
And it's also, I'm drinking because I'm sad and it's all my fault. But it's not an internalized sort of anger like it used to be. It's very much an external. I'm drinking because I'm angry. It's not my fault this time. It's everyone around me, and everyone else is going to pay for this.
Right.
I wonder if it's leading towards a bit more of a tweenerish Hangman.
Maybe I don't know. It seems Tony level to me in terms that it would be like really hard to turn him back. I mean, even when they tried like a year and a half ago, it didn't really work, right? I mean,
do you know what I think would be a really good move for Hangman if they are going through this sort of if they are going to shift into this presentation of Hangman as like this angry, righteous badass, right? Do you know what I think they should do? And this is going to be controversial. They should change his theme back. They should bring back, Black Hat? The sort of brooding, foreboding, his heel theme, essentially. But in the sense of like, he's not a heel. He's just consumed with his rage at the ops. I don't know. Perhaps I'm just a mark for that theme song. I think it's one of the best themes that AEW's ever done.
And just throwing every single dart he can to hit that bullseye, which was called Black Cat or whatever the theme was called. Just frantically, we've got to get back there somehow.
I don't care how. I like Hangman's, traditional.
You're like the WWE with Bloodline. I don't care how we get there. We've got to get there back there somehow.
How dare you compare that masterpiece of Mikey? Well, it wasn't Mikey Ruckus's, but that masterpiece of AEW's theming with the fucking Bloodline. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Wow, not feeling very oozy today, are you?
I never feel loosey. If I ever feel loosey, I want you to take me out back and put both barrels of a shotgun in my head.
I got a three barrel just in case. But this was good stuff. So some of the other story beats I want to note, and we'll talk about the actual fucking wrestling in a second. But Hangman and Swerve both came out different entrances. They both came through the crowd. They both had chains on. They had this moment where they kind of looked at each other later in the match. The team move that they had with the buckshot plus the house call, I don't know what you call it, the buck call, was really good. Just the call shot, I don't know. But very good stuff.
No, I'm just imagining him just having like a deer caller thing, where it's like it's the buck call.
It's the buck call. Oh, then the Young Bucks come out. Anyway. But yeah, this was great. I honestly kind of struggled to remember. Like I was so entranced in them tagging for the first time
Yeah. Oh
And
my God.
their
This-
group finisher that I don't really remember a lot of parts of. Strickland also Swerve also had a staple gun, so that was pretty cool.
yeah. He just staples everyone.
All those extras
We should
got
also.
paid for that.
I was going to say we should also mention that there were a bunch of those Ops Dojo extras, jobbers, whatever you want to call them. They all got their shit thoroughly rocked by Hangman and Swerve, as is tradition. But yeah, this was a good match. I thought the sort of transition into the match was a little bit awkward, where it was like they'd been killing each other with weapons, but now the match has started. It's no, there's still disqualification, so put the weapons away, boys. It's time to have a wrestling match. Thought that could have been done a little bit better.
Yeah, that was weird. I agree with you, by the way. You said this earlier and I forgot to comment. But like tornado tag matches have always been no DQ, or at least I thought they had. I don't know. That's what I remember as well. So I was a little confused. Like when the ref started taking away the chairs and shit, I was like, what is going on? Like just let him let's let him fucking hit each other. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was still a good match, I don't
It was still great, yeah.
Yeah, and Don Callis was backstage and cried a bit more. Crucially, challenged the Young Bucks to one final match for the money, for all the marbles. Takeshita, he has Okada, he has Takeshita, he has Fletcher, the best trio in history. He wants the Bucks to get a partner and face them in Manchester. And I wonder who that partner could be. Perhaps they'll go with, I don't fucking know, Colt Cabana. It's not like they have.
Boom, Colt Cabana, boom, boom, boom.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but
you're welcome.
Obviously.
One of the very few people who probably even remembers that theme.
Remember.
You know what's so funny here, by the way, Adam? That's true. You know what's super funny? You were freaking out in the chat about a totally different match, Josh Alexander versus Swerve in Cardiff.
Yeah.
And I was like, that fucking fucker is ahead of me, and he's seen some kind of a huge match announced for next week. I gotta close the chat so I don't get spoiled on something. And like I let it go a little longer. I'm like, okay, where's this match announcement? I let it go a little longer. What the fuck is Adam reacting to? I let it go for another few seconds. I type in the chat, Adam, what the fuck are you so excited about? And you're like, oh my God, it's Josh Alexander versus Swerve. I'm like, yeah, that was an outside collision.
I completely look. I blame, and this is a long-standing vendetta for me. I blame Triller.tv for that fuck up, because they completely messed up the collision feed last Saturday.
Yeah.
So that I was watching. It was like 30 minutes in, and they just froze completely and was not redeemable for like a long time. So I gave up on that collision that night, and then when it came to it on like Sunday and Monday, I was just like, I'm just gonna watch the matches. So I missed this announcement. I completely missed it.
And you know what the bummer is here, Adam? Triller is such a financially stable and robust institution at this point that surely nothing bad will happen to them by 2026. So unfortunately, you'll never be able to get your revenge on them for this.
The wolf is at old Gil's door.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
That's from The Simpsons. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I don't know every Simpsons reference. I just know the most popular ones.
Oh,
say Gil. The line, Bart. But anyway,
you must know who old Gil is, surely. The sort of down on his luck old man. It's like, you want to buy a car, please. I ain't got no money to my name, just please.
I don't remember this character. What's his name? Old Gil.
Yeah. Oh my God. Am I going crazy?
No, I mean I'm not doubting he exists. Oh, this guy. Yeah. I do remember him. He was he was a businessman. That's how I remember him. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Triller is very much the old Gil of streaming companies right now. But yeah. So and in all honesty, they blocked me on Twitter, so I really don't care if they live or die.
I can't believe that. I love that's a little thing you take out of your back pocket every now and then.
Yeah, but it's always when they fuck up and it's like their stream has gone down on everyone. I'm like, fuck, I can't even yell at them on Twitter because they blocked me because of the last time I yelled at them on Twitter.
All right. Stokely came out. I kind of missed some of this because HBO was acting up. But basically,
you should yell at them on Twitter.
I should yell at them on Twitter. That's right. And see how that goes for me. And tell them that they should let Tubi buy them up instead of fucking Netflix. For $36. But yeah, apparently they're going to do that match in Manchester, England, with FTR and the gut
I'm
and
gutted.
Austin and
I
Juice.
wanted that one for Collision.
Oh
That
my
was one of
goodness!
the
And
ones
so
I
did Cena.
wanted. But yeah, that should be a very good match. But speaking of very good matches, Dory, I don't know whether you're still playing with your dog, but I don't care because I want to talk about this. This next match is quite possibly. I don't know whether I. Oh, it's a tricky one. I might call it. This is probably the television match of the year. That's probably very controversial, I know.
Well, so here's the thing, right? I have my matches of the year for 2025. I don't think I have a single television match besides this one listed, right? I think everything else is All Out, All In, Double or Nothing, Spring Break. Oh, I do have Spring Break. But Spring Break and this one
Yeah,
are the only one that comes close or
Osprey
matches
and
it or
Takeshita.
Osprey exactly. So that's the only one I can think of that would beat it out for TV match of the. Otherwise, you're right. I mean, just by default, you're right.
Yeah, this is, first of all, this is the best match in the history of the Continental Classic. I don't think that's a controversial statement. You know, there are matches that have come close, like Okada and Osprey in the final last year, Osprey
I think Osprey
Darby
versus
last year.
Darby was excellent
Yeah,
as well.
but I think this is better. I think this is because the near falls and the drama of this match were absolutely astronomical. They were so incredible. And you know, Carl Fletcher is possibly. I don't know whether this is controversial to say, but I don't. Carl Fletcher might be the best wrestler on the planet right now. Like, just full stop, no caveats. He might just be the best in the world. And Speedball Mike Bailey is such a pure and honorable and, you know, absolutely super over babyface compared with Carl Fletcher, who is a tremendous heel, phenomenal wrestler. These two had all the trap. You know, when this match was announced, I was like, that's going to be really, really good. And I was really gutted that it didn't happen in Cardiff again, because it could have. But this was a religious experience of a match. This went so far above and beyond even my lofty expectations for this match. This Speedball has been in the company for 9 months now, and he's had very, very good matches. Don't get me wrong, and he's had very good singles matches. He's had very good matches with Kevin Knight and Jet Speed. This was his shining moment in AEW thus far. This was his sort of. This is the one we'll look back on and be like, that is when Speedball staked his claim as one of the best wrestlers in this company. And I could gush about this match until the cows come home, because there is so much to talk about in this match. It's ridiculous. The last sort of 5-10 minutes of this match just throw you around like a dog toy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, this was incredible. This was one of, if not the best TV match of the year. I agree that this is probably the best C2 match. I struggle to think of anything that matches it, let alone beats it. The chemistry these two had was unreal. When I reposted this in one of the servers, I was like, oh my god, hose me down, like this is going to be incredible. And I mean, I knew it was going to be great, but holy shit, I did not see like TV match of the year contender like coming out of this, right? This
No.
was so good. The chemistry here was unreal. I guess I kind of want to say brutality, like the amount of hits that these two took, the kinds of bumps that they took, the ways that they took them. I mean, just like it was just hard hitting. It was fast. It went almost the entire 20 minutes. They teased a draw, and we got a surprise win. I mean, this was incredible.
Yeah, it really was. It was special. That's the word to use. This was a special match where everything just hit. The crowd was molten for it. You could present this sort of match in front of a dead crowd and it would still be incredible. But the crowd being absolutely locked in for every single moment just made this it turned it from being a really great match into being one of the matches of the year. Because you cannot fake that atmosphere for a match, and you cannot fake some of them. First of all, you can't fake some of the things that they did to each other in this match. There's a spot in this match where they're on the outside and they go up to they're standing on the barricade.
Yep, the guardrail.
And on the guardrail, and they're sort of battling out, blah 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 blah. And Carl Fletcher hits it was the
Michinoku driver. Or at least according to AEW it was. Yeah, that's what they said anyway.
I was going to say it's like a Michinoku driver. And Speedball, he doesn't take it flat on the guardrail. He hits the edge and bounces off. And when he gets up, you can see the gash on his back. Like the abrasion is running from like his tailbone to his neck. It was awful. It looked, it's one of those things you look at and think, he is in ridiculous amounts of pain. But despite that, they just kept going. They never stopped. And there were so many moments in this match where I'm like, that's it. That's obviously, oh my God, it's not it. You know what I mean? Like, there were moments where Speedball hit the time adventure on Carl Fletcher, and I thought, that's it. And he kicked out at like 2.9. And then there are two near falls in this match that absolutely had my heart racing. The first of which is Carl Fletcher has been beaten to fuck by Speedball, but he cannot put him away. But eventually he gets him down. He gets him sort of on. Carl Fletcher's on his hands and knees, which is just a tremendous visual, no matter what's happening in the match.
Thank you, thank you, Adam.
Yes, thank you. My horniness knows no bounds. But Speedball gets up to the top rope and hits. But in a very, very rare occurrence in All Elite Wrestling, he hits the Ultimate Weapon, which,
I'm pretty sure this was the first time that he's ever hit the Ultimate Weapon.
In AEW, yeah. Like, it was.
Yeah, well, in AEW, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he's hit it sort of standing, or on the apron or whatever. It's the first time he's gone to the top rope and hit the Ultimate Weapon, because it is one of those moves where it's like that goes even a millimeter wrong, it could paralyze someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. And the fuck of it all is that Kyle kicked out. I couldn't believe that he kicked out.
He did. Like, the moment that happened, I was like, oh my God, that's it. He's won. 2.999. Carl Fletcher kicks out, and I gasped. I didn't want to make too much noise because people were sleeping in the house. But if I'd been sort of on my own, I just screamed because I was so convinced. And then, Carl Fletcher moves out the way of another Ultimate Weapon on the floor, hits him with an apron. Hits him with that apron powerbomb that everyone thinks nearly killed Adam Cole, but it didn't. Check the footage. Sorry, I'm mad at that. I got into an argument with someone on Twitter about that. But he hits the apron powerbomb, gets him in the ring, hits him with a corner powerbomb, kicks him in the face, gets him up, sheer drop brainbuster, which is Carl Fletcher's sort of, that's his finisher, and nobody kicks out of it.
Nope.
It's a very, very rare.
I was like, oh, this was a fantastic match, but that's it. Bailey's done.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what a match! Fair play. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it's not done. That was, if anyone got woken up, that was it, because I was in another dimension after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was sent to the Shadow Realm personally, but I don't know what dimension it was for you. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. What's that?
No, I was going to say I was in dimension 20, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, I get it. I was here the whole time. But yeah, that's a different show, I know. But same network. But yeah, I mean, this was incredible. This is, again, we've reached another match where it's like, I don't know, just go fucking watch it. Like, just how fluidly Fletcher and Bailey moved, like Fletcher's Hurricane Rana, Bailey's moonsaults, the Ultimate Weapon, the time adventure. Just I don't know. There's so much in this fucking match. You just should go see it. If you watch anything from Winter is Coming, and you should watch more than just this match, by the way, but you got to make it this match. I mean, just a 19-minute bell-to-bell banger between two of the best up-and-coming wrestlers in the world. I don't really think much more needs to be said.
No, there's nothing more that really needs to be said, because these two, like I say, these two were always going to have a really, really good match. I don't think that's controversial, but this was just absolutely stellar. It was incredible, and just to highlight it, this is currently, if you're wondering, this is currently the 12th highest rated match of 2025. It's the second highest TV rated match of 2025, only just below Takeshita and Ospreay on Cage Match. And it's rising all the time. It's on 9.37 at the moment, which should tell you that this is a match worth watching. If so many people are saying this is incredible, just go and watch it. I cannot sell you on it any more than I have, because there's nothing more to say than just you got to go and see it for yourself. And I shall be watching it again tonight and probably tomorrow night, because I need to show my best friend. He was out for food. He lives in Montreal, like Speedball Mike Bailey. And he was out for dinner, and he got home just as that match had finished, and he messaged me because we talk to each other every night. And he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Dude, we need to watch that fucking match I just saw, as soon as possible." I was like, "Stop whatever you're doing. We need to figure out a time and place where we can watch that when we're not doing anything, as soon as we can." So yeah, I'm gonna watch that back as soon as I can. I cannot gush about it anymore. So we will move on, but do it. Just fucking watch it. Renee's in the back with Hangman Page following the match. She said it's like hell is frozen over to see you teaming with Swerve Strickland. Asks what is next, and Hangman says, "Winning my world title back is what's next." And he said it didn't matter who won, who was going to win tonight, Samoa Joe or Eddie Kingston, because at World's End, I'm getting my title back. So another Hangman, Hangman might be getting his title back. I'm intrigued about this, because knowing who wins in the main event, Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston. Spoiler alert, because we sort of buried the lead on this earlier. Samoa Joe beats Eddie Kingston. So for the third pay-per-view running, we're doing Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page. And I don't know who wins that.
I know that a certain large gentleman of the Jewish persuasion is possibly
Big
factored
Hebrew.
It's factored into creative plans for World's End. I presume that he's going to cost the Cowboy. I could be very wrong about that. Maybe he costs Joe because he fucking hates Joe and he'd rather fight Hangman, because I believe he's actually beaten. He's beaten both of them, I think. But
I could see a world, because the whole thing is that you have to, with the casino gauntlet thing, you have to advertise the match. You have to sign the contract 7 days in advance. I could absolutely see a world in which MJF in New York at the Hammerstein Ballroom comes back and says to Tony Khan, "Put me in that match."
Makes it a triple threat. Yeah.
Make it a triple threat. That way you avoid doing the same main event three pay-per-views in a row.
Yeah.
And
it's not in World's End is in Chicago, but at least he comes back, it's in New York. I was going back and forth with some people on this, and it just could be me misunderstanding, but I don't think MJF has to be there for the actual battle royale. He just has to be there for the person who wants to take the ring. And my understanding was that that match isn't happening until the Hammerstein shows, which makes sense because he's a New York boy, right? He's a Staten Island boy. So, so I don't, or I always get Long Island and Staten Island mixed up, but whatever.
Well, I mean, they're both very Republican, so it's very easy to mix them up.
It's, I think he comes back at the Hammerstein show, and I'll go absolutely nuts for that. And he'll I don't know. We'll see what happens with the diamond ring. I'm not overly concerned about that. But yeah, he probably. I mean, what he could do too is he could stockpile his chances, right? Because once you win the diamond ring, you get one shot at the title. So he could use that and still have his contract, backed up. But I don't know.
I love the idea of MJF just hoarding world title opportunities.
It's like a fucking dragon in D&D with gold.
Yeah, just being like, it's like if you're playing, I don't fucking know. It's like if you're playing Uno or like, Switch, the non-branded Uno, and you have like all these sorts of pick up fours, stockpiles, and it's like, right, pick up four. Oh, and and another one. Oh, I need and another one. Oh, I love it. I love the idea of MJF, cashing one in, losing, and then immediately cashing another one, losing again,
Yep.
and then finally the third one he wins. Just the inevitability of like, I have so many title shots. I'm going to win that fucking belt.
That's right. I'm eventually gonna win. He's Thanos himself into a title shot. I am inevitable.
I think that could be a really fun way to do it. And
Yeah.
it would also piss off a lot of very bad people online.
It would. All right. Well, let's talk about the Young Bucks finding their third man, and then we'll talk about the main event, and then get out of here.
Yes, it was Harry Lime all along. Sorry, that's a very old reference.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was. Another Simpsons reference, I presume.
No, it's the third man, the film.
Oh, yes.
But yeah.
Kevin Nash?
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
Kevin, fuck off.
I could hear the ACL tearing from here.
Yeah, the Young Bucks. They sort of they're trying to find a partner. Who was it they originally? My brain is going foggy. They find
I don't know. I know Luchasaurus pointed to a certain somebody's door. But again, my HBO was acting. I'm gonna start using a different TV because it's like not playing nice with my new TV. But so I don't. I legitimately don't. Actually, let me look at the results. They offered a spot to Luchasaurus, but said no and pointed to a certain KO's locker room door. Not that KO, different KO.
I was gonna say Kevin Owens. Oh my god.
Yeah, God, I wish.
Mount Rushmore, baby.
Yeah, let's go. Oh man, that makes me sad because Adam Cole. But anyway, yeah. Kenny comes out, says he'll do it for free. And yeah, the match is going to be on for Manchester. And you know what that means, Adam? Carry on my wayward son.
I'm so pissed off that they wouldn't do that in Cardiff. I mean, I get it because they want to have as many big things in store for that Dynamite because it's probably it's the first time they're in Manchester. It's going to be a massive crowd, probably 10,000 people plus through the doors. But yeah, selfishly, I was like, can we have some things for Cardiff, please? To be
please,
fair,
can I have some more?
Yeah, to be fair, there are some really, really good things on that show. I'm going to see Claudio Castagnoli versus Konosuke Takeshita. How the fuck do you get mad at that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's going to be so sexy. But yeah, I love elite drama. What can I say? There's not much more. There's not much more to it than that.
There's not much more to it. All right. Well, the main event, Joe versus Eddie. I hate to say it. I mean, this was a great match. Don't get me wrong, but there's no way they were ever living up to literally one of the best matches of the year. But it is still great. Very hard hitting.
Hey. For me, right?
Yeah.
For me, obviously they were never going to live up to Speedball versus Kyle. I really love the change of pace in this match, where you had the sort of incredible, sort of all-out, high octane, the AEW trademark style turned to 11 with Speedball and Carl Fletcher, right? I really like the sort of this felt very much like an old school brawl. The sort of Memphis Mid-South 80s style, two big badass beefy boys knocking the shit out of each other, for the world title. It felt, and in Atlanta, that it's a great wrestling, a great historical wrestling city. So many things of that nature have happened in Atlanta. It felt like a real throwback.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
was
I totally get that. It was a very nice change of pace. I did appreciate the physicality and the hard hitting nature of the match. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like I feel like it's faint praise or whatever, but it was a very entertaining, very good match. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. Not as much as some of the other matches, but honestly, it was probably my weakest match of the night. But like that's just
oh no.
relative, right? Everything else was so damn good that it's like, that doesn't say much. It was still a great match. There just wasn't a
see for
lot going on in the match compared to other stuff
see for me,
physically.
I just loved for starters, I love the fact that it was a very sort of clear stamp that Eddie Kingston was back, because this is the Eddie Kingston that we've missed. The heart, the soul, the guy who is getting beat to fuck by Samoa Joe, but will not stay down. Still has one brutal chop left in him. By the way, if you watch Samoa Joe after he leaves the ring and he's walking up the ramp after winning, his chest is fucking purple.
Purple.
Like, Eddie Kingston chopped the shit out of that man. Let no one think that Eddie Kingston did not leave his mark on Samoa Joe. And like I said earlier, Eddie Kingston does the emotional stuff, the sort of the feeling, the triumph over adversity better than maybe anyone. And so when he is hyping himself up, he's getting, like I said, beat to fuck by Samoa Joe. He's getting, lashed and punched and chopped, and he will not back down. He will not submit to this guy. And he is hyping himself up. He is bringing himself back to his feet. He is going for Samoa Joe. You feel it in your soul. The heart of this man is unparalleled. And there were moments where I thought that he might actually get it done, because Eddie Kingston makes you believe. Even if you think in your brain that there's no way he can win, he makes you believe, even if it's just for a second. You
Adam,
just cannot help but buy into him.
I have a very serious question. Does he ever make you believe?
Okay, and with that note, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
I'm sorry. It's all I can think about. It's all I can think about. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. To be clear, I totally understand. Eddie made me believe too. I think a part of it too. At this point, I've been dealing with so many fucking issues the past few weeks with HBO on my new TV that I'm just I was like, kind of in a bad mood too, so that didn't help the match at all. But yeah, it was great stuff. I mean, but there's not a lot to say. Although I will say, actually, to completely contradict myself immediately, I really liked that exploder suplex that Eddie hit on Joe. It's not very often that you see Joe get tossed around like that, so I really enjoyed that spot.
Yeah, and like in this, this is might be controversial. In a way, it reminded me of the last time Hook was great, which is that very, very lauded Samoa Joe match where it was like
Yes.
Samoa, the moment of Samoa Joe being sort of picked up and hauled around by this guy that you think has no chance of doing that. Like I say, it makes you believe. It makes the animal part of your brain go, "Oh my god, he's gonna do it! He's gonna do it!" But yeah, spoiler alert: Eddie goes for the hurricane, the back fist that he has, paid to so many people through, and he misses. Samoa Joe gets him in the coquina clutch, and Eddie's fighting. At that moment, I still believe that he's going to find a way to get out of it, because he's fighting. He's trying to sort of wriggle his way free.
Is the DDT and maybe this has already been cleared up and we talked about it and I forgot. Is the DDT like an homage to something? Like, is he just, I don't know, the DDT thing came out of nowhere. Is he just a big Jake the Snake fan, or like what
I
is
have
happening?
no idea. Perhaps
Okay.
it's just like Eddie being Eddie. He wants to bring back some of the old moves as finishes again.
Right. Right.
He went through a period where he was using just a basic power bomb as a finisher, purely because Toshiaki Kawada told him to. Because that was always Kawada's finisher. So he just started using that as a finisher. That's how he won the Ring of Honor title. He beat Claudio with a simple power bomb because Kawada told him to do it. So I don't know. Perhaps Jake the Snake has just been like, "Yeah, honor my legacy, brother. Use the DDT."
Yeah, that absolutely could be the case.
Yeah, Jake the Snake still works at AEW, right?
I believe he does. I mean, he was in LFI and then he was gone. So I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, he gets the Kikita clutch. I think he's gonna get out of it. He's gonna get out of it. But the pressure, the choke, the strong arm is too much, and he taps out, which I did not see coming at all. I thought, oh, if he's gonna lose to this, it's gonna be a pass out. But no, he tapped.
I'm so glad he tapped. Like, if
And
Eddie Kingston isn't too fucking big in his britches to tap out, like, none of you should be either. Not that everything has to be a tap out. I don't mind a pass out every now and then, but that has been a little bit of a bugbear for me lately, where it's like, I don't understand why no one can just tap anymore. But yeah, Eddie did tap, and he's like the biggest tough guy there. So
yeah, I really appreciated it, because nobody, if John Moxley can tap out twice, to Hangman Page, nobody should be above tapping out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I know obviously circumstances are different. He's getting choked by a chain or whatever, but a choke is a choke. So yeah, I think this attitude of protecting people via passing out, A, is overdone, and B, is cowardly. In like UFC, in MMA, there's no shame in tapping out if you're in an inescapable hold. So we should, I think the move to bring back tapping out is an acceptable and not cowardly. By the way, tapping out being a coward's move is very WWE. So I think AEW, because that was sort of Vince's thing, where it was like, oh, you tap out as a babyface, and you're a coward, you're a shit, you're a shit heel or whatever. So I think bringing back tapping out as still a respectable, understandable finish to a match for a babyface, I think is good work, and they should keep doing it. But yeah, that basically wraps it up. There wasn't a lot after the match. Joe celebrated with the title. Eddie sort of collapsed in the ring.
I will say one thing happened after the show went off air.
I was going to say, yeah. Did you see about Brian?
I did see it. It was very, very good. Brian Danielson got on the mic, started talking to Eddie, telling him basically how great he was and how he believes in him and how everyone should believe in him, and getting the crowd really. Eddie is actively hiding his face the whole time, clearly not wanting any of this praise, not wanting it. He's like, oh God, the best fucking wrestler in the world, in the history of wrestling, is praising me right now. Fuck off.
Do you know what's crucial about it though?
Yeah.
Brian said he believes Eddie can win the title.
I know, and I was gonna get to that, but yeah, absolutely. That's one of the big things. I'm like, you wouldn't do this if Eddie never wins the title, right? I mean, you don't have Brian fucking say this guy's winning the title if he's not gonna fucking win the title at some point. I don't think he wins it in the next month or two, granted, but I do think in the next year, which is nuts, because if you had even asked me like 2 weeks ago or a month ago, I would have been like, no, it's done. Eddie's never winning that title.
I think there's a path to take where Samoa Joe loses the title to Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie gets like a 3-week, a transitional run, which, you should never be afraid to do transitional runs as champion.
I mean this in the most affectionate way possible, and other people have said this too, so I'm taking it from them. He should get the Mick Foley run, or something very similar to a Mick Foley run, where like he gets that title in a shock win, it sends the crowd super happy, loses it like in 2 weeks. Like that's always, and you could still do it. The idea that I had last year or the year before, I don't fucking remember, where MJF fucking cheats to beat Eddie and just sends Eddie into fucking rage. Like I want that so bad.
That's what I was going to say. You could absolutely have a universe where Samoa Joe loses to Eddie, and Eddie gets a run of like 3 weeks, a month, or whatever. Next pay-per-view, Max beats Eddie, and then they go into whatever story they want to start building for All In, because we'll be about sort of March, April time in my head canon for this. They start to build the inevitable. I cannot fucking believe that they won't do it. I have to believe it's the plan. The inevitable rise and win of Will Ospreay in Wembley.
Yeah,
it has to be.
I agree. And I think you can do that Eddie kind of descending into darkness, kind of Hangman-esque storyline. I really want to see MJF and Eddie on the mic with each other too. I think have they done that before? I think that they've done that before. Have they? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like because I can't remember it, it must not have happened. Because I feel like I'd remember that.
I feel like I would have. Yeah, it's never happened. They've never even had a match together, which is nuts.
Yeah. I'm looking on the database. Yeah, no, they've never had a
They
match together.
fought
That's
on the Indies.
crazy.
They fought on the Indies, but that was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. We talk about how deep and loaded this roster is, and there's some matches that just have never happened. But anyway, I don't want to rush you, but we probably gotta
Yes.
wrap it up. I'm acting like the Keeleys a little bit early here, but we gotta wrap it up.
But yeah, absolutely. This was truly a fantastic episode of Dynamite.
Yeah,
One that
one
you
of the
should,
best of the year, no doubt.
yeah, one that you should seek out if you haven't already. Just
Winter is
go
Coming
and
always
watch it.
delivers. It was my first ever AEW
Always,
episode, so
always delivers. There's always something noteworthy and newsworthy coming out of Winter is Coming. You know, I
Yep.
think in 2020, obviously, the massive one with Sting and with Kenny winning the title and whatever. 2021, you had the really good match between MJF and I want to say Rocky. I can't remember his name. Oh wait, no, that was 2022. Never mind, I'm being a fucking idiot. But like, there's always something. I'm thinking as well. Oh, of course, Winter is Coming 2021 had Hangman versus Danielson, the time limit draw, which was absolutely incredible. 2022 had Action Andretti, the greatest jobber match of all time. So yeah, and this one, you know, I'm losing my mind, you know, trying to think of 2023, 24, but this one will be remembered chiefly for one of the best matches of the year in Speedball versus Carl Fletcher.
Yep.
So
All right.
yeah, absolutely. We'll wrap that up there. Thank you very, very much for joining us on this one. Thank you, Dory, for joining me as always.
Ineffable as always.
We will talk. We'll be back next week at some point. I'm not quite sure when because I might be busy when we normally record, but I will be around at some point. I promise. Talk about Holiday Bash in Manchester and briefly talk about Collision in Cardiff, which I'm going to be at. I'm very excited.
Yep. And speaking of shows, I will be at the Christmas Dynamite and Collision. I got really good seats for Collision, and I got decent seats for Dynamite. So I'm very excited for that. So we won't talk about it ahead of time. We'll talk about it as it happens. But yeah, I'll know about it ahead of time because they're taping it obviously for the holidays.
Yeah, of course, and we will have a strict spoiler warning. You know, do not spoil anything because I got really pissed at someone for spoiling the Hammerstein with Dynamite last time. So yeah, but yeah, we will see you then. We will see you next week. Thank you to Justin Shim, our producer, for being so patient with us because we have to go because otherwise we're going to run out of time because he needs to go. So thank you to him. Thank you to all of you, to all the liking and the subscribing and stuff. You know what to do at this point. And yeah, thank you very, very much, everybody, and goodbye.
Bye.